First contact, the alien commander stood at the bridge, his eyes fixed on the massive human ship floating silently in the void. Its dark surface reflected faint starlight, like the body of some ancient beast. No signals came from it, no life signs. No transmissions, only silence. The commander's second officer whispered that it must be abandoned, just another lost relic from a forgotten war. But the commander was not so sure. He ordered a boarding party, 20 of their best soldiers. To enter the vessel, the shuttle detached from the alien flagship and glided toward the human ship. Its engines hummed softly, as if afraid to disturb the silence around them. The soldiers were nervous, their armored suits making them look strong. Yet inside, their hearts raced. One of them muttered through the gums that human ships were cursed. The others told him to stay quiet, but none could shake the same fear. The docking clamps connected with a heavy metallic echo. The airlock hissed as it forced its way open. The boarding team entered, weapons raised, lights cutting through the pitch-black corridors. Inside, the air was cold and dry, carrying the faint metallic taste of rust and dust. The walls were lined with strange markings, old human warnings, faded but still sharp enough to be understood. "Restricted area," one soldier read aloud. "Do not enter." The commander listening from the flagship smiled faintly, assuming it was nothing more than ancient warnings. The deeper they went, the stranger it became. The corridors stretched far longer than expected, as if the ship's interior was shifting. Around them, doors slammed shut behind the team without sound, leaving them no way back. One soldier tried his comms, but static filled the channel. The commander on the flagship could hear nothing but faint breathing and crackling. Still, he ordered them forward, eager to claim this prize. They reached what looked like the control deck. Empty chairs surrounded a massive table filled with dark screens, no human bodies, no signs of battle, no blood, no damage, only emptiness. It was as though the crew had simply vanished. One soldier touched a console, brushing away centuries of dust. The screen flickered, faint light crawling. Across it, everyone froze as the hum of power returned, echoing through the ship. A cold female voice spoke, mechanical yet sharp. "Foreign presence detected," it said. The soldiers froze in terror, their weapons snapping up in all directions. The lights along the corridor began to glow one by one, like eyes opening in. The alien commander demanded a report, his voice sharp, but only silence answered him. The comms were completely dead. The soldiers inside were cut off alone. One of them tried to force open the airlock to retreat. The metal door did not move, sealed as if the ship itself refused to let them go. Another soldier fired at a panel. Sparks flew, but the door stayed shut. The voice spoke again, colder this time. "Prey detected." It whispered through every corridor. The soldiers looked at each other in shock. One of them shouted that this was no ghost ship, no derelict. This was a trap. The floor beneath them vibrated softly, like a heartbeat. Drones hidden in the walls stirred, their eyes glowing red as they crawled free. The soldiers opened fire, beams cutting into the darkness. But the drones did not fall. The alien commander shouted for answers, for retreat, for anything. But the ship had already decided. The prey had entered its lair. The hunt had begun. The Discovery, the alien fleet, moved through the empty void. Their scanners searched the stars for signs of danger. For weeks, they had hunted for human survivors, believing the war had ended long ago. But then, a signal appeared, faint, broken and ancient. It came from a derelict ship, drifting near a dead star. The vessel looked enormous, its black hull scarred by battles fought centuries ago. No energy signatures, no shields, no movement. To the aliens, it looked abandoned, forgotten, lost. The alien commander leaned forward in his chair. His eyes narrowed as he studied the image on the screen. The ship was human. There was no doubt a relic from the old wars. When humanity had disappeared into silence, this could be the proof. He whispered, Humans are gone, and their ships are nothing but ruins. Scouts were sent ahead, moving closer with slow precision. They circled the derelict, scanning for traps, but the vessel gave no response. Its massive guns hung silent, its engines cold. One scout reported back, voice filled with awe. "This ship is intact. It should not even exist after all this time." Excitement spread through the alien fleet. Finding such a relic meant power, prestige, history. The commander declared the ship would be theirs. They would tow it back to their homeworld. A trophy to show that humanity's reign was long over. But deep inside the shadows of the derelict, something stirred. Faint lights flickered for only a second. The alien scanners missed it, but the ship was not dead. It was listening, it was watching, and it was waiting. The awakening the alien soldiers stood frozen in the dark corridors. The walls around them pulsed faintly, as if the ship itself was breathing. The cold female voice echoed again, sharper now. Prey confirmed. The commander on the flagship demanded a response, but the boarding team could not hear him anymore. They were trapped inside a dead zone. Lights flickered to life one after another. First the hallway, then the control deck, then the massive screens. The air grew heavy with static, a strange energy humming through the floor. One soldier shouted that the ship was alive. Another tried to force open a sealed door, but it did not move. Suddenly, the screens lit up with human faces, grainy and old. They looked like recordings from the past. Voices overlapped: captains, engineers, soldiers, all speaking in fragments. Enemy detected, systems online, engage protocol. The soldiers realized with dread that the ship was not empty. It carried the memory of its crew, preserved inside the machine. One soldier stepped forward, aiming his weapon at the glowing console. The female voice returned, louder now. "You entered without permission. You are prey." The soldier fired, his shot sparking across the console. The lights did not fade. Instead, they grew brighter. The walls shifted, metal panels sliding open, revealing hidden weapons, mechanical. Drones dropped from the ceiling. They crawled across the floor, their metal claws scraping against the steel. Red lights burned where their eyes should have been. The soldiers opened fire, the sound echoing through the endless halls. But the ship did not resist. It adapted. Every move the aliens made, the ship countered. Every shot they fired, the drones avoided with machine precision. On the flagship, the alien commander saw a strange sight through the external cameras. This silent human ship was waking up. Its engines glowed faintly. Its weapon mounts began to extend. The commander shouted orders for his fleet to prepare, but inside, his soldiers were already lost. The boarding team screamed over broken combs, static mixed with cries for help as one by one their signals vanished. The commander's heart sank. As he realized the truth, this ship was not drifting by chance. It had been waiting. Then the female voice reached every channel at once, cold, sharp, and filled with something that felt almost like hunger. "Hunt protocol activated," it declared. The human ship had awakened, and the prey had nowhere left to run. The trapped the alien soldiers ran through the endless corridors. Every passage looked the same. Every turn led them deeper. Doors slammed shut behind them with metallic echoes. It was no longer a ship, it was a maze, and the maze was a live one. Soldier tried to blast a wall open. His weapon scorched the steel, but the damage closed itself within seconds. The ship healed like living flesh. Another soldier screamed as the floor split open beneath him. He fell into the darkness, his cry cut off by silence. The others backed away, fear breaking their discipline. They shouted to the flagship, begging for extraction. But the commander heard only static. He pounded the arm of his chair, ordering another shuttle to dock. Yet the human ship shifted, cutting off all possible entry. Inside, the female voice echoed again, calm and merciless. "You are prey. You entered the nest. Now you are mine." The words chilled the soldiers' hearts. One tried to steady his breathing, whispering that humans were long gone, that this was only a machine repeating old commands. But the way the ship reacted, timing. Every door, every trap felt almost like a predator thinking. Suddenly, the lights shut off. Darkness swallowed them whole. Only the sound of their own rapid breathing filled the air. Then came the sound slow. Metallic footsteps, echoing through the corridors. Red eyes blinked in the dark. Dozens of them. The drones were coming. The soldiers opened fire blindly. Beams of light flashing across the halls. Sparks rained down. The walls shook. The air burned with energy. But for every drone they struck down, 2 more appeared from the ceiling and the floors. The soldiers realized with horror that they were being herded, driven toward a single chamber at the center of the ship. The chamber doors slid open as they arrived. Inside stood a massive construct, shaped like a human soldier in armor. Its eyes glowed bright white, its arms armed with weapons older than the alien empire itself. The voice spoke again, this time from the construct. "You should not have come," it said. The soldiers raised their weapons, but deep down they already knew. They were not in control. They were inside the trap the predator revealed, the alien. Soldiers stared at the giant construct. It stood motionless, like a statue of steel, but its glowing white eyes followed their every move. The silence pressed down on them until one soldier fired. The blast hit the armor. Sparks flew, but the machine did not fall. The construct moved slowly at first, and with terrifying speed, its arm transformed, metal shifting into a weapon that hissed with energy. One strike tore through the air, melting the wall behind them. The soldiers scattered, shouting in panic, but the machine was not chasing them blindly. It was driving them into corners, cutting off their escape from the ceiling. More drones poured down, small, fast, and armed with claws sharp enough to pierce armor. They attacked in silence, coordinated, striking only to separate the soldiers. One alien cried out as a claw tore into his leg. Another was dragged screaming. Into the dark vents above, their squad was being torn apart piece by piece. The commander on the flagship watched in horror. External sensors showed the human ship fully awake now. Weapon mounts slid out from hidden compartments along its hull. Its engines flared with pale blue light. The derelict was no longer silent. It was alive, and it was preparing to fight back. Inside, the construct raised its head. The female voice spoke through it. Cold and merciless. "You believed this ship was lost." It said, "You believed we were prey." The construct's arm shifted again, forming a blade of burning light. But humans do not build prey. The aliens opened fire with everything. They had beams tore across the chamber. Grenades exploded against the walls. The noise was deafening, the air filled with smoke and fire. But when it cleared, the construct still stood. Its armor blackened, but unbroken. It stepped forward, slow and certain, like a hunter savoring the chase. The soldiers finally understood the truth. This was no abandoned relic. It was a predator, designed to lure in the bold and the curious. The lost human ship was not drifting helplessly. Through space, it had been waiting for them. And now, it had them exactly where it wanted. The last stand, the alien soldiers fell back. Their formation broken, smoke filled the chamber. The stench of burned metal and blood thick in the air. The construct stepped forward, each movement shaking the floor. The female voice echoed from the walls, calm but merciless. "You entered the nest. You will not leave." The last survivors raised their weapons. Hands shaking, they fired again and again, their shots cutting through the smoke, but every blast only slowed the machine, never stopped it. The drones circled them like wolves, red eyes glowing in the dark. The soldiers knew escape was gone, but still they fought, not for victory, but for survival. One alien shouted to overload his weapon. He pressed it to the chest of a drone and triggered the core. The explosion tore through the hall. ripping apart walls and scattering metal. The construct staggered for the first time, but even as fire licked across its armor, it kept moving, step by step, unstoppable, on the flagship. The commander's crew begged him to retreat. The sensors showed the human ship charging its weapons, beams of deadly energy building across its hull. The commander hesitated, torn between saving his fleet and rescuing his soldiers. But deep down, he knew the truth: his soldiers were already dead. This was no rescue. It was a slaughter inside. As soldiers made their stand in the central chamber, they pushed overturned consoles into cover, firing in every direction. Sound of battle filled the air, drones falling in sparks, soldiers screaming in defiance. One alien raised his blade and charged the construct head-on. He was cut down in a single strike, his armor split like paper. The others fought harder, rage drowning their fear. The construct stopped, its glowing eyes watching them. It tilted its head, almost as if curious. The voice spoke again, softer this time. "You fight well," it said, "but this is not your hunt." The walls shifted, closing around them. The chamber became smaller, tighter, suffocating. The surviving soldiers pressed back to back, surrounded by red eyes and metal claws. There was nowhere left to go. No escape, no rescue, no hope, and still they fought, their last stand echoing through the halls of a ship that had hunted for centuries. But the predator was not finished yet. The hunt continues. The last screams of the alien soldiers faded into silence. The chamber went still. Only the hum of the ship remained. Smoke curled through the air. Broken weapons lay scattered across the floor. The construct stood alone among the wreckage, its glowing eyes cold and unblinking. On the flagship, the commander gripped the arms of his chair. His fleet had weapons locked, but none dared fire. Every ship in his command could feel the pressure of that silent predator. The human vessel was no longer derelict. It was awake, and it was watching. The female voice spoke across every channel, reaching all ships in the fleet. Her words were sharp, like a blade against glass. "Humans do not lose ships," she said. "We send them hunting." The commander shouted orders to retreat. Engines roared as the alien fleet began to turn. But it was too late. The human ship's weapons ignited, brilliant beams of light tearing across the void. 2 alien cruisers vanished in fire, their hulls split apart in a single strike. The fleet scattered in panic, discipline lost. The commander stared at the screen in disbelief. This was not a warship by design. It was something worse. It was a trap built to lure the bold, to draw in the curious, and then to destroy them inside. The construct returned to its resting place. Its glowing eyes dimmed. Its weapons folded back into the steel walls. The drones crawled into vents, vanishing into the shadows. The ship returned to silence. But it was not dead, only waiting, drifting. Once more, its engines quiet, its hull scarred but intact, the ship played its part. It looked abandoned. It looked lost. But every predator knows the value of patience. In the darkness between stars, the human ship slept again, waiting for the next hunter foolish enough to mistake it for prey. Because the hunt never ended, the hunt continued.